Run, get away from the fry house into the ocean, cause you're a crab and must race with other fellow crabs to reach the ocean first in O Crab.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play O Crab, game designed by Bartosz Szopka and Bartłomiej Zielonka and published by Smart Flamingo. We are using a prototype copy of the game, so the rules and components may not be final.
And hello everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant.
Let's get to the game.
In O Crab, players are crabs. Delicious, tasty crabs, recently escaped from this fry cook's beachside crab shack. It's a race for survival, as players will tactically play cards from their hands to scuttle their way down the beach, and pushing past or through their opponents to get to the relative safety of the water. First crab to the sea will win the game. To set up for the standard 3 to 5 player game, take any 3 of the map boards, laying them out into a beach track, with the restaurant starting tile at the front, and the ocean at the end. Make a general supply of shell tokens, this is the main currency in the game, and from that place one shell onto each of these shell icons on the board. Randomly choose any 3 sides of these tiles and lay them face up near the board. These are the shell actions. Then from all the action cards, which have this back, separate out the starter cards, which show a crab character down the bottom of the card, from the common action cards, which do not. Shuffle the deck of common action cards, and then place the deck and a market of 3 face-up cards near the central board. Each player chooses a colour, takes its crab, its matching player board card, and the 3 matching starter action cards, which are held face down in hand. Choose a first player who takes the first player token, and place that player's crab on the number 1 space of the start line. Place remaining players in their position in turn order, going clockwise around the table. Then anyone who begins on an odd-numbered space, and therefore a half step behind the others, gains 1 shell from the supply. You're now ready to play. O Crab is played in rounds, and each round is played in 3 phases: the planning phase, action phase, and end of round phase. The planning phase is resolved simultaneously. All players look through the action cards in their hands and choose one which they wish to play this round. Once all players have chosen, you'll go to the action phase, and this takes place in turns, starting from the first player and going clockwise around the table. At the start of your turn, reveal your chosen card and add it to the in-play area below your player board card. On your first turn, this simply means flipping the card face up. But on all subsequent turns, you'll reveal the card and then choose whether to place it on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of all the cards currently in your in-play area. You can't slot cards in between. You can only go on the left or right of the total row you've already played. Now, in any order, resolve any number of the actions which you can trigger. At the start of the game, you'll have 5 types of actions available. These are the main action, side action, first player action, shell action, and board action. The main action you can take is the large icon shown towards the top of the card you flipped this turn. In most cases, this will be one of the 3 main types of movement: forward, diagonal, or any direction. If your main action is forward movement, then move your crab 1 space forward, away from the crab snack and towards the ocean. For diagonal movement, move 1 step diagonally in one of the 2 directions. And with an any direction action, you can choose to move forward, left, or right. Various things may happen as you traverse the map. If you move into a space with a shell, then collect that shell, adding it to your personal supply. If you enter a red bordered space showing this X, then you must choose an action card from your hand and discard it above your player board, making it temporarily unavailable to play in future rounds. If you have no cards in your hand to discard, you cannot move into such a space. If you move into a space containing another player's crab, then you push that crab, moving it forward or into one of the two diagonal positions, and then tip the crab over. If the crab was already tipped over, simply push it. If you choose to push a crab into a space with another crab, then you also push that crab, and the active player chooses the destinations for all pushed crabs. A crab which is pushed into a shell does collect that shell, and a crab which is pushed into a discard space must discard one card from hand unless it has no cards in hand, in which case there is no penalty. Any crab which is tipped over when it comes to its turn must spend a movement arrow of any type to stand back up again before taking any subsequent movement actions to move on. A crab which is standing on one of the green dashed shortcut spaces may discard a card which shows the matching type of main action, so here it's diagonal, to move all the way along the shortcut path. Any crabs in the destination would be pushed as usual. From all other directions, this is considered an obstacle which cannot be moved into. Upon playing your card for the turn, if you match up any action icons between the new card you played and the cards already present, you may resolve these actions. These are called side actions. These will either give you further movement icons, or they may give you shells. Here you gain a shell from the general supply. The purpose of collecting shells is to take the shell actions. Remember, 3 shell actions were placed for all players at the start of the game. Once per turn, choose any one of the 3 shell actions, pay its shell cost back to the supply, and resolve that action. This one, for example, is just another forward movement, while some others give you ways to manipulate your cards or special types of movements. The last type of action available at the start of the game is the bonus action on the first player marker, which is an extra diagonal movement. This is the player who's closest to being caught by the chef, and therefore they have an extra impetus to move a little faster. And so, in summary, that will be your action turn. You'll play the card, and then in any order, you can trigger the card's main action, any side actions you've just completed, at most 1 shell action, the effect on the first player marker if you have it, and anything you trigger on the main board. Once you're done with all your actions, play passes to the next player clockwise. After only a few turns, you may run out of cards in hand, and so when it comes to the planning phase, you'll have nothing to play. During your action phase turn on the round in which this happens, you'll automatically take the rest action. You may also optionally choose to take the rest action even if you do have cards in hand. Just choose any card to play during the planning phase, and then on your action phase turn, pick it up and declare that you're taking a rest. When you rest, return all cards from your discard pile to your hand, and return all but 1 card from your played area to your hand. Then also choose one of the 3 more advanced action cards from the central area, and add that to your hand as well, immediately replenishing it from the draw deck. You'll take no further actions on this round, but you'll be ready with a full hand of cards and 1 card to match with when you go into the next round. Once you've started building up your hand with these new cards, then you'll have some new special actions. This is a second action printed below the main action at the bottom of the card. As usual, you can take this on the turn you play the card, and can take it in any order compared with the other actions you've triggered. These actions are stronger and more varied than the basic actions, and full details of how they all work are shown on these help cards. Just be aware that some of the more powerful actions require you to discard an extra card from your hand to do that effect, and many involve further movements to your crab or other players' crabs. As usual, all decisions about crab movement go to the active player, not necessarily the player who owns the crab being moved. Once all players have taken their turns in the action phase, move to the end of round phase. Resolve any on-board end of round effects. For example, on this tile, any player who is within this tidal river space will drift until hitting land. Then determine which player on the track is furthest behind. That player is closest to the chef and takes the chef marker as the new first player, getting that extra bonus move next round. In the case of a tie, first player goes to whichever of those players was nearest clockwise from the current first player. The game ends at the end of the round in which any one player reaches the sea. Finish that round so that all players have had the same number of turns. Among all players who reach the sea during that round, whichever player has the most cards remaining in hand is the winner. In the case of a tie, victory is shared. When playing O Crab with 2 players, each player will control 2 crabs on the map with a single hand of cards. To set up the board, you'll use a shorter map, using only 2 of the major tiles instead of 3. The starting first player's crabs will begin on spaces 1 and 4, with the other player on 2 and 3, and both players begin with a shell. Players will do planning and build up their in-play areas as usual, but on your action turn, you'll only be resolving actions on whichever of your 2 crabs began your action phase turn further behind. In the case of a tie, you get to choose. When playing 2 players, you can push your opponent's crabs in the normal way, but you're not allowed to push your own crab. Instead, when you enter your own crab space, the 2 crabs switch places. If you play a card where the special action has the forces of nature disrupt other crabs, such as the seagull, then this can apply to your crabs and your opponents. Whereas a card where it's your crab attacking your opponents, such as sand in the eyes, affects only the opposing crabs. The winner will be the first player to get both of their crabs into the sea. As usual, if both players achieve this in the same round, whoever has the most cards in hand breaks the tie. And that's how to play O Crab.
Check out the project page of O Crab. We'll put the link in the description below so you can check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.